Okay, everyone. It looks like all of our program participants are now on the call, so we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning to all of you. I am Mrs. Banks, the Administrative Program Specialist here in the College of Business. I'm sure there'll be a lot more people to join the call as we progress into the forum, but I do appreciate all of you for joining us this morning for our virtual Fall 2020 Student Leadership Forum entitled Virtual Interviewing the New Reality. With everything going on in the world today, we can expect to see a lot more virtual platforms being used across the board, just as we're doing right now. And even when you attend the virtual career fair on next week. I'm hearing background noise. Can we get everyone to mute their mics, please?
You probably do not. I am going to put all of the audio.
Can everyone please mute their mics?
Ms. Banks, you may have to mute all of us.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, I think that took care of it. Okay, so just as I was saying, with everything going on in the world today, we can expect to see a lot of virtual platforms being used across the board, just as we're using today, and even when you join the virtual career fair on next week. So you can expect the College of Business want to make sure that our students are prepared for this, this new platform. Today's forum is designed to give you insight from some top company representatives on how to prepare for virtual interviews, how to secure opportunities, and how to market yourself for this new virtual environment. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I know sometimes we can run overtime in these forums, so let's just get started with it. First on our agenda, we have Mr. Christopher Howard. Christopher is a marketing major here in the College of Business. He's also a recipient of the Terry Bacon and the Top JAG Scholarship.
Thank you. Good morning, faculty, staff, and especially my fellow College of Business students. I'm Christopher Howard, a senior marketing major and Terry Bacon and Top JAG Scholarship recipient. And I would like to welcome you to the Fall 2020 Student Leadership Forum, Virtual Reality. Virtual interviewing the new reality, excuse me. Each semester, the College of Business makes a conscious effort to fill its students with knowledge, making us aware of resources, and exposing us to opportunities that will facilitate success. Today's program will be no different, as you will gain knowledge that will prepare you for virtual interviewing. Again, welcome to our Fall Student Leadership Forum. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christopher, for that warm welcome. Next on our agenda, I would like to introduce to some and to present to others our Dean here in the College of Business, Dr. Donald Andrews. Dean, you may still be on mute. We can't hear you.
I just gave a wonderful address, so I'll have to cut it even shorter now. But I just want to thank all of the experts that are here to share their knowledge with us. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to share with us your knowledge and to help our students prepare for the careers of the future. And so we really honor you in terms of your willing to share your knowledge with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean, for that, for those encouraging words. Now we're going to have our panel discussion. Our panelists are going to offer some insights on some very key questions you may have as it relates to interviewing, and especially virtual interviewing. So let's go ahead and just meet our panelists. First, we have on the panel Ms. Kashonda Dunn. Kashonda is currently employed with 3M as a Lean Six Sigma Black Belt in 3M Safety and Industrial Business Group, supporting 5 divisions, channel, and marketing for the United States and Canada. She has had past experience in sales and sales plus marketing development. Kashonda is originally from Gibson, Louisiana. She graduated from Southern University at A&M College in the fall of 2003 with a Bachelor of Science degree in marketing. She is currently pursuing a master's in business administration from the Carlson School of Management at the University of Minnesota. Two of Kashonda's favorite quotes are, "Don't be afraid to start all over. You may like your new story. And greatness is a process." Kashonda loves Jesus, traveling, food, fashion, CrossFit, reading, and adventure. Next on our panel, we have Ms. Laquita Thomas. Laquita Thomas works as a project manager and certified Agile Scrum Master with Texas Instrument Incorporated in Dallas, Texas. She has been with the company for 26 years. Laquita is very active in the area of engineering and IT recruitment and talent development at Texas Instrument, and was appointed campus champion for TI at Southern University and A&M College in 2003, and in 2007 as executive sponsor. Laquita was educated in STEM, having earned a Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics with a minor in computer science from the Southern University at A&M College in Baton Rouge, Louisiana in December 1993. She earned a Master's of Business Administration specializing in e-commerce from the University of Dallas Graduate School of Management in 2001. Laquita is a life member of the National Black MBA Association, and in December of 2018 was named their Community Champion of the Year. She is committed to STEM and also serves as National Society of Black Engineers and is a life member of the Beta Gamma Sigma Honor Society. Laquita has afforded many opportunities to give back to the community as a life member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. She celebrated 25 years of service in the sorority in 2019. Laquita supported diabetes research for 20 years in the Dallas-Fort Worth area with Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation and served on the Corporate Advisory Council for the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America. In 2018, Laquita was inducted into the National African American Women's Leadership Institute and partnered with a colleague on developing STEMage is Everything, a concept that encourages young ladies to see and create their identity in STEM. As a result, Laquita now serves as the North Dallas High School Advisory Board, serves on the North Dallas High School Advisory Board, working with the administration, faculty, and students on career readiness and promoting STEM. Laquita was selected in March 2019 as a Hidden Figure Top STEM Influencer in the Dallas-Fort Worth area by the National Society of Black Engineers, an honor she cherishes and is committed to living every day. Laquita is passionate about assisting our new generation of leaders and their transition from the dorm room to the boardroom, and spends time mentoring college students and new college grads on career planning and chartering their personal roadmap. Laquita, who mentors and advised countless students over the years, created a Career Bootcamp 101 workshop. The workshop is designed to assist college students with preparing for and landing great careers after graduation. She enjoys sharing career best practices with as many college students as possible and has conducted the bootcamp workshop at HBCUs, Morehouse College, Spelman College, and Southern University. Laquita is an extremely proud and active member of the Southern University Alumni Federation and was elected as the first female national president of the 78-year-old organization in July 2018. She is honored and humbled to serve as the 19th national president for the SU Alumni Federation and is committed to increasing alumni engagement, SU support, helping Southern reestablish national academic prominence, and building relationships with more corporate partners to benefit the Southern University system and Alumni Federation. Laquita is over the moon excited to continue giving back to the SU system, the students and best alumni on the planet. Laquita, a true servant leader, is dedicated to impacting the next generation with education, career, and professional development opportunities. She firmly believes in the scriptures, your gift will make room for you, and to whom much is given, much is required. She's enthusiastic, energized, and excited about the road ahead and believes the best is yet to come. And on our panelists, we have Mr. Kedrick Gray. Kedrick Gray is a site cost leader for Sabin River operations in Orange, Texas, and finance manager supporting global mega project activities for Dow, formerly the Dow Chemical Company. He is also the global cost lead for optimization projects and implementation focal points. Dow manufactures and supplies products for use as raw material in the manufacture of customer products and services worldwide and is ranked 78 on the Fortune 500. Dow has been included on Fortune's 2019 Change the World list, a ranking of 52 companies that have made an important social or environmental impact through their profit-making strategies and operations. Listed as number 26 in the ranking, Dow is recognized for its program to pilot the use of recycled plastics on roads as part of the company's long-standing commitment to reduce plastic waste and drive sustainability solutions. The Dow Chemical Company was founded in 1897 and is headquartered in Midland, Michigan, where Kedrick began his journey with the company as an intern, an internship possible through his affiliations and membership with NABA. After a summer internship in 2002, Kedrick joined the Dow Chemical Company in January 2003 in Midland and assumed responsibilities as the North American Research and Development Functional Cost Accountant. In 2005, Kedrick relocated to Plaquemine, where he has held numerous positions with finance and accounting, supporting locations over NAA, Canada, and Mexico. Kedrick was instrumental in aligning all site services responsibilities into one cost accounting role and led the MRO conversion project for both sites. Most recently, he was the ECC SAP Area Implementation Team Lead for finance and focal point for the North American Energy Pilot, subject matter expert for several functional areas, as well as a finance implementation lead for Louisiana. Kedrick received his BA degrees in accounting and business economics with a finance concentration from Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated, president of the Dow Issue Alumni Association, student member service director for the Baton Rouge NABA chapter, finance recruiting lead for Southern University and North Carolina A&T, and a diversity mentor for Dow. So as you can see, we have some very experienced and well-rounded panelists for you today. They're going to address some questions you may have. They're going to give you tips that you can use as far as virtual interviewing. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our questions for our panelists. And also, if you guys have questions as students from any of the panelists, make sure to jot those questions down and be sure to ask those during our Q&A session at the end of the discussion. Okay, let's see here. Our first question. The university's virtual career fair is on the 29th of this month, powered by Handshake. Let's start with attending the virtual career fair first. What are some recommendations you would give our students who have never attended a virtual career fair?
So is there any particular order? I was like, is there a particular order that we start in with this, or do you just kind of go for it?
I'll tell you what, Ms. Dunn, let's go ahead and start with you, and then we'll have Ms. Thomas and then Mr. Gray. Does that work for you all?
That's totally
perfect.
fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Well, I think one thing that I would say is, while I realize that this is a virtual platform, I kind of look at it much like it would be if it was not a virtual platform, right? So, you know, you would research the companies that are going to be in attendance for that career fair already, right? So some of those same sort of strategies that you would do before, you still do it in a virtual world. So research the companies that will be in attendance at the career fair, you know, and in that research, going online, you know, looking at what job roles and responsibilities they might have available, or perhaps what they might talk about, and sort of think about with those roles and responsibilities, what skill sets you have now, and start to align some of those, your skill sets with what the job roles and responsibilities look like to foster some discussion at the career fair, right? Because the whole idea is to foster the discussion to get an interview. So for me, when I look at those things, that would be what I'd say, start the research, do those things in advance, resume, have that ready to go electronically versus in your hand, in person, right? So those are just a couple of things that I would say in preparing for a virtual interview or a virtual career fair, I should say.
Yeah, and if I can piggyback, I think all of what Ms. Dunn said is spot on. In addition to that, I think that in a virtual environment, what we've learned via Zoom and some of these other tools that we're using is that they can fail on you at any point in time. So what I recommend, in addition to everything that's been said, because yes, you absolutely need to treat it as if it's an in-person encounter, an exchange, engagement. But in addition to that, make sure that you're familiar with the software, whatever platform virtually is being used, because you don't want to get there and then you don't know how to unmute, or you don't know how to show your video, or whatever the expectations are of our career fair, which I'm sure will be shared. But at any rate, I think that spending some time and making sure that you have everything downloaded either on your laptop or on your whatever device it is that you're using, that you've got your internet connection, everything is working, explicitly like it's supposed to, so that you don't have any hiccups or any blockers with the encounter with the respective company representative. So I can add on to that.
And see, I'm so happy that I get to go third, because these young ladies before me, they were able to set the foundation, right? I have to echo both their sentiments there. With Ms. Dunn, as she refers to, you being prepared, right? So you treat it just as though it's a formal encounter. You got to understand that now it's more virtual, meaning that's a shorter window. I've participated in several career fairs already this year, and you don't get that same window of opportunity. So, you don't get a chance to walk away and come back and show more of your personality. You have to put your personality on display and have a very short period of time to be able to influence them, your elevator speech, right? To kind of let them know that you are a candidate that they should be looking at. And also with Ms. Thomas, when, you took the words right out of my mouth, you need to be very familiar with the platform. I just did a career fair last week, and a few of the students that joined on weren't really familiar with it, which is not necessarily a dig at them. But however, if you want a leg up on some of the competition, because you have to be mindful, this is a competition, you want to be familiar with those platforms, whether or not it's Handshake, whether or not it's Zoom, or whether or not it's Microsoft Teams or some other type of foundational platform. I've been in the IT space within finance, right, with the implementation and also with robotics and automation. And one of the things that I always find is that you want to be very much on the front end, be very proactive in understanding what these platforms have available to you. And that sets you apart from a lot of students. You'll be very surprised. The small things that you learn about, they pay large dividends later on, right? So if you're able to show a little bit more familiarity with it. And the last piece I'll say is, in relation to like the elevator speech I mentioned earlier, there's a word that I always love to use, and I learned it from the Southern University. It's called extemporaneously, right? Be familiar with your information. Do your research, have your questions provided, just be a very polished as you could potentially be. And whether or not you need to use someone around you, a friend, a coworker, a parent, or a sibling, have somebody that you can kind of use as a sounding board so that you can become more comfortable with the information, because I always say you are the subject matter expert of your life and your experiences. So it needs to come through during that initial virtual introduction. So great point.
Thank you all very much for those responses. Our next question, based on your experience, what did some job candidates do well in their virtual interview? Ms. Dunn?
So for me, just a couple of things that, I think about, and it goes back to some of the discussion we just had, and that's preparation. When I see people that are prepared, kind of ready to go, that ask great questions. I'm very much a person that I like thought-provoking questions, questions that can make me walk away and say, wow, you know, that's something I want to research. That's something that I even want to think about. So having great questions, being engaged, being very prepared, in interviews that I've had with different students or even interviewing within my company with others wanting jobs, intra-company, if you will. Those that come prepared, those that ask great questions, those that are very engaged and really, you know, show that they really want those sort of opportunities are the ones that, for me, that do really, really well from that perspective.
Okay, and I guess if I can add on to that, so a couple of things. One, even though it is virtual, it's still engagement and it carries the same weight. And in some regards, it may carry more weight because you have a lot of things at your fingertips that you wouldn't necessarily carry with you into a career fair booth where you're walk in with a lot of papers and resumes and different things in a briefcase. So you're sitting, you know, technically behind your device. Like right now you can see my background, but you have no idea where in the world I am. What that means though is that you have things at your fingertips where you can look up something very quickly. If you're unsure about something, everything right now is so app friendly on our cell phones that, you know, we absolutely need to take advantage of the technology that's there. So I think that those are some key things to think about as you're coming into the session. And when I say this, know that I mean it in love. Those that know me at Southern know that things that I say I mean in love. Don't be lazy. And what I mean by that is don't, I guess, kind of overlook the opportunity that's there because it is virtual. And then we begin to do things that don't make us maybe look as polished because we're behind a screen or behind a device or something like that, as opposed to showing up, you know, looking as polished as you can. I'm sure, and Mrs. Montgomery will probably touch on this at her time to speak. You know, you still have to present yourselves in a very professional manner. You never know, your camera could go on. It kind of goes back to making sure that you know how to leverage your device. So what if your camera goes on and you didn't mean for it to click on, and we see something that, you know, we'll just call a wardrobe malfunction, since that phrase has been used previously. But those are things that you need to think about. So, you know, I encourage all of our Southern students to take it seriously because the encounter is just that, whether we're looking at you over a screen or whether we're looking at you in person. And I encourage all of us to definitely go the extra mile, do the extra legwork. Let's not be lazy. Let's not take for granted what's in front of us. So I think that those folks who have approached their virtual engagements in that manner have been more successful.
All right, great point. What I'll say, the things that stood out the most to me is obviously being prepared, right? So students that came into the interview being prepared. I don't expect the student, I know that when I've done, you know, hundreds, probably thousands of interviews by now, and I know they're going to come in nervous. You know, that's something I always try to level set with the students coming in, because I understand there's going to be that nervous pressure, right? There's going to be those nerves. But always ask questions, right? And I don't mean questions at the end. I mean, if you get stumbled or if the question that's being asked, you may not catch it first, don't hesitate to ask them to reiterate the question, to repeat it. You know, it's not a dig at you. It's not to say that you're not competent enough to answer the question the first time. It just make sure you have clarity, because the worst thing to do is to answer a question incorrectly because you thought that you heard a certain question, because that's what you're going to be judged based on. You may have known the answer if you had gotten the question interpreted correctly, right? So definitely make sure you understand those questions. Also, don't feel like you need to answer it immediately. Don't be so quick on it. You know, take a second, take a pause, right? I'm quick to tell them, like, take your time, make sure you formulate your thoughts and you can articulate it well. So take your time to answer those questions. Being polished in that way goes a long way. We're talking about an interview. I want to see your personality. I definitely want to see a little bit of that personality come through. I'm not saying to come in with, cracking jokes or anything like that, but I want to see a little bit of your personality, because that's going to tell me how well you'll fit in our organizational structure and what may be the best role for your skill set and for your personality, because I want you to be successful. Also, your dress, right? So the way you dress, the way you come to the screen, Ms. Thomas said it so eloquently. You don't know when that camera's going to come on. It may come on inadvertently, or it may catch something that you don't expect. So you want to make sure that you're polished. And with that being said, if you're doing a virtual interview, the worst thing to happen is to have a lot of background noise. So make sure that you find space. Make sure you find that safe space that you could have this communication with, because, we don't want to hear all the dog in the background. We realize it's very virtual. COVID is definitely having us to reevaluate the way we do business. However, if you can limit and mitigate those background and those distractions, those interruptions, because that will distract you from your responses as well. So I want to make sure that you at least take that proactive stance there as well. But what stands out to me is making sure that you feel comfortable in the material that you're answering. Make sure that you feel comfortable with the question that's being posed, and making sure that you provide enough substance. So I always ask my interviewees the three-pronged response to questions, not just to answer the question, but look at it from a three-pronged approach. What was the intent, right? What steps that you took to get to the result, and then what was the end result? I want to know the entire phase, because that's the way for me to gauge your mindset and exactly how your thought process went along with you being able to address not only that specific situation, but understand these are scenario-based and behavioral-based questions. So be comfortable in those questions. There's so much information out there. And if we talk about the College of Business here, we talk about NABA and other areas, there is I guess we can call it a playbook, where there are hundreds of questions related to scenario and behavioral-based scenarios. Sit down, look at some of those questions. And when you sit down and you look at those questions, you don't have to write out a whole paragraph. Just put a couple given notes that identify what kind of scenario you could potentially use and pull from your experience, whether or not it's from school, whether or not it's from work or other kind of personal experience, to be able to address that question. Have that information readily available so you can start working on those talking points for the interview, so it has more of a robust and substance to your responses. So those are the things that have come across for me that have impressed me in interviews.
And I know before we move on to the next question, I love what Ms. Thomas said, and I also love what Mr. Gray said. And if I can put this in terms of practicality, if you will, and I'm trying to think of the right words to say, but I'm just gonna, because I'm a very candid person and a very authentic person, I just kind of put things out there. But think of this, and go with me for a second, but think of this like dating. This is a date, it's like dating a person. And just as much as you want to get to know that person wants to get to know you, right? And, you could think of sort of the virtual career fair as like a speed dating process where, you gotta get to know a lot about a person in a very short amount of time. And there's a certain amount of preparation that has to happen in that piece. So think of it much like that. I know we're talking right now and it feels very formal, but to take some of the informality out of it, think of it like dating. There are things that you do when you find a guy or a girl that you like. You might peruse their Instagram page or their Facebook page, and you find out all this information about that person to slide in their DM, if you will, to ask them on that date. But there are things that you do to be able to do that. And I look at whether it's virtual or even in person, those are all of the process steps that you do to get to the point of asking a person a question about whatever. These are all the same things that you do to prepare for an interview. So I just wanted to kind of step back and level set for a sec to even put this in more informal terms of, think of it like dating. You got to get to know a person, they got to get to know you. And the only way that you get to know those people is that you do research. And there are ways that you do research. Even in today's society, there are ways that you do that. So even as we continue forward in these discussions about preparing for those things, think of it at a very basic level of dating. You want to get to know that person, they want to get to know you, and you got to figure out what's the right fit for you, even in the person that you date. You know, you want to figure out who's the right person for you. And the only way you know how to do those things is through all of the things that Ms. Thomas talked about and Mr. Gray talked about as well, but just sort of level setting a little bit and putting it in relative terms that, you know, can help foster that discussion forward.
Thank you all so very much. Those are some really great tips for our students. So your takeaway, students, should be prepared, research, know how to use the functions of whatever platform that you're using. So just make sure that you are going into this virtual interview being prepared for, you know, whatever you need to prepare for. That kind of goes into my next question. Based on your experience, panelists, what are some of the most common mistakes that job candidates make on virtual interviews?
So I guess if we're still going in order and I'm starting again, some of the common mistakes that I see, you know, so let's talk about opposites, right? So all of the things that we talked about that are good things that we see, that I've seen with candidates is literally the opposite of that. So lack of preparation, you know, not being present, not bringing your full self, right, to the interview process from that perspective. Being or even appearing very disengaged, like, you know, you're not interested in what's being discussed. You know, maybe there is some distractions or some personal things that might be happening. And if that's the case, you know, it's really okay to level set and stop for a second, say, hey, can, you know, back to Mr. Gray's point, take a minute, pause, or maybe even be honest enough to say, hey, I've got this, you know, personal thing that's happening. You don't have to tell me what it is, but hey, I have this thing. Can I take a moment? And then can we come back and revisit that? But many times it's just people are disengaged, and it leaves me as an interviewer kind of thinking, man, you know, they're really not interested in this. And now I feel like I have completely wasted my time and yours because you're not engaged at all. And then also going back to the piece of just proper dress. So making sure that, you know, you don't have any snafus, if you will, where, you know, we're not dressed properly in certain situations, and then I can see that. And it's just a lack of care for what that sort of looks like. So for me, those are the things that from negatively that have stood out to me in terms of, you know, mistakes that I've seen in the interview process.
Yeah, and I think Ms. Dunn has really hit it on the head. I think it really all really falls under the big bucket that's called preparation. And so for us, it comes back down to dress. Are you engaged? Did you show up? Are you here with us? Because again, as Mr. Gray mentioned, you know, you have to think about those distractions that are around you. Do you have, you know, pets, or you may be maybe a non-traditional student and you may have a family that you have to consider, and maybe the kids are doing what they're doing. You know, some of us are, you know, doing 2 and 3 different jobs during this particular pandemic, in that we're trying to keep our kids engaged and we're trying to keep ourselves engaged if we're working remotely and all these other things. So as students, you may find yourself dealing with some of those same types of scenarios. And so I think it really, you know, Jasmine, comes back down to preparation. It's the lack of preparation will show rear its ugly head in terms of how you communicate. Are you still making the eye contact even over a video? Because we will interview you over a video at Texas Instruments so that we can still have that, you know, face-to-face engagement. And so it'll be really, really easy for me to pick up on whether or not you're there with me, or if you're somewhere else, if your phone's doing what it's doing, or you're looking at emails or doing other things, because again, you're using your device as a mode of communication. And so it'll be very easy for us to pick up on whether or not you're technically there with us physically, mentally. And if you're not, and you begin to disengage, and I'm going to disengage. And you don't want me to disengage first. I just want to make that clear. So we want to make sure that you're coming in, that you're clear on what you've needed to do in terms of the readiness for the interview. And if you don't do those kinds of things, they will definitely show as we get into our discussion. So I'll hand to Mr. Gray.
All right. I think I echo once again both you guys' sentiments. You know, when I look at some of the common mistakes that folks have made with me during interviews, obviously the disengagement thing, you know, not really understanding the question and just, you know, kind of going through it. Short answers. That to me, that's a mistake because I don't have enough substance to really be able to make a determination on whether or not you're competent in the question that I asked. So I definitely need that information. Proper dress is key. You know, of course, we're talking about virtual, so you know, hey, you could wear a nice button-up shirt, guys, with a tie, with shorts on underneath. I don't care if you're wearing Jordans or not. I'm not going to see that. That's the beauty of COVID, right? You could have on pajamas and still have on a nice button-up dress shirt. I won't know, and it wouldn't bother me. But you need to make sure that what I can see speaks to what you're looking for. They always say dress for the job you want, not for the job you have, right? So you need to put your best foot forward. Some of the other common things that and I mean, it ranges so widely, okay? So for me to write, I could write a book on answers and things like that have been absolutely incorrect. Be mindful of the job that you're applying for, that you're interviewing for. I spend a great deal of time training, bringing folks in. And I'm sure Ms. Dunn and Ms. Thomas can attest, and anyone who's been in the business sector can attest, that the biggest cost to a company is training. You know, it's change management and training. Okay, so if I have to bring you in, I want to know that you're coachable, right? So with that being said, I don't want to hear a response to a question of, well, you know, I really want to be an entrepreneur. Well, you're applying for a job to be an accountant for a career. So if I'm hearing that you already have flight plans, then you're a retention risk, right? So my attrition numbers are based on me being able to keep an employee, not being able to provide you with the training so that you can go elsewhere. And I've had students who I've interviewed that said, well, in 2 years, I want to do this job, but then I want to go and do public, and then I want to go do this. That's a red flag for me. So that's a common mistake. If you have that as a desire, hold that desire to yourself. If you want a job, and this is just me being completely bluntly honest, if you want a job, don't tell me that you plan on leaving me in 2 or 3 years, because there's no value to me if I'm looking at the duration of the role to bring in someone who I know that in 2 years, I got to bring and go through that same activity again to bring someone else in to train. So those are just some of the common things. And like I said, I echo what Ms. Dunn and Ms. Thomas have stated as far as be prepared. There's nothing like coming into a job. And I've done even not just the virtual career fairs, but in the in-person career fairs where someone will come up to my booth, see my company, and say, exactly, what do you do? Well, to me, I think that the virtual platform affords you an opportunity to kind of do research prior to you logging in. Now, I don't know exactly how we're going to set up the schedules within Handshake for this year, but for Southern. But I know in my last career fair I attended, the schedules were only 10 minutes for each interaction. In 10 minutes, that's a lot of information you have to try to disseminate to me. And I'm going to give you all that time. I'm going to give you a little bit of foundational information about the company, but I want to know more about you. and how you can benefit from us in that relationship, that partnership, kind of like the dating thing that Ms. Dunn indicated earlier. I want you to bring that to me. So I want you to be prepared and be able to ask questions and ask about what type of experience you can have, and not necessarily just about what is the company. You should know that information offhand. And as I mentioned before, the reversal of what you do well. Take a pause, ask for reiteration of the question if needed, and make sure you can answer that question, precisely, and pull from your experiences. One other thing that Ms. Thomas alluded to earlier, and I also want to state this, is when you have certain situations that are happening in your life, like you don't have to tell me all the personal things that are going on, but give me the foundation, right? Like if there's the kids in the background because you're non-traditional, I'm okay with that, but kind of prompt me, give me that level of respect of saying, hey, I do have my kids in the background. Is that okay? There should be no employer that should tell you that that's a problem. And if they ever tell you that that's a problem, then that may not be the company or the employer you want to look at. Okay, that's just to be completely honest. But at least give me that understanding, so level set, so that I could at least, that'll make you feel more comfortable as well. So it's a give and take there. But I think those are the biggest mistakes that I've had that I wanted to share with you guys here.
And Ms. Banks, if I can jump in just to add, because Mr. Gray said something that I think I'm pretty passionate about, and it's about your personal roadmap. I think it's important to understand what's on your own personal roadmap and how you convey that in an interview and even in an exchange in a career fair booth, which we will be doing virtually as well. I think it's very important to note that, yeah, one day you may want to own your own business, and while that's great for your personal goals, that may not be aligned or will jive with what that particular company is looking for. And so you will really, personal roadmap yourself out of a role and an opportunity with the company because it doesn't jive necessarily with their particular goals and what's on their 3 to 5 year roadmap. Potentially companies are planning and planning and planning and planning. So they know what they're looking for. They know what they need in terms of talent. And so with that being said, it's very important that those are the things that you keep to yourself if you're looking to work in corporate America. And I would say that for any environment, any sort of industry, that's going to be the real leading practice and the best rule of thumb. So I wanted to just kind of echo on that. In addition to everything else that we've said, please don't make the mistake of knowing that you're representing more than just yourself in these particular virtual engagements and environments, as well as even in the in-person when we go back to that particular model. It's very important to recognize that you are so-and-so student from Southern University. And that's going to carry a lot of weight with what the companies decide to do later. And so while Mr. Gray mentioned that you can look, 5-star up top, just don't forget that whole wardrobe malfunction thing that we talked about earlier, where your camera may do something different or something else may happen. So go on and throw a pair of slacks on, go on and throw the skirt on, because I think, too, what may happen is it sets your mental capacity that you are doing something very serious in nature. You're dressed for the part, even if you are sitting in your kitchen or in your living room, or you could even be on your bed. We don't want to know any of that stuff. But at the end of the day, you still need to approach it as something that is real, that's, defining for your career, so you got to put that time in and put that effort in. So I just wanted to add that.
Very good. Thank you all so very much for those tips and strategies for our students. My next question is, let's talk virtual identities. I've heard that in the discussion earlier. Some of our students have virtual identities. Their virtual identities include professional and personal social media, email addresses, and virtual usernames. What strategies and tips would you recommend to our students to ensure they maintain a virtual identity that is professional?
Okay, so can I pass this to Ms. Thomas?
Okay, you can. So in a word, I would say be professional. And what do I mean by that? So sometimes when I get up and I have the opportunity to speak with students about how you present, it comes back to your brand, right? It's your brand. It's that elevator pitch moment that you have virtually for us to be able to identify with you. So it's very, it's fine if you want to have, and I'm sorry, I'm dating myself. I've been out of school for close to 30 years now, but if I'm a hot girl at AOL or I'm a hot girl at Gmail, yeah, I don't want to see that in terms of how you are branding yourself and how you're identifying yourself virtually. I think that you need to leverage LinkedIn and some of the other professional tools that are out there that will allow you to engage and see what's out there. And just understand that in this day and age of COVID-19 and in this pandemic, we have no idea when the official end date will be for this. So the competition out there, you can't even imagine what it looks like because everyone's taking advantage of the virtual engagement. I don't have to travel somewhere. I can register for this conference or that conference and maybe not pay what I would have paid to go to the National Society of Black Engineers Conference or the National Black MBA Conference. And so with that being said, the competition is out there. The landscape is a lot wider. So you're having to do things more intentionally. And so what I recommend is that you present yourself professionally. And you all know what that means. It means that you need to have screen names that are professional. It's nothing boring about just being first name, last name at Gmail or at whatever particular domain that is of your choice. Social media, be careful with social media because companies from time to time will take a look at your social media to see what's going on with your social media. In this day and age of Black Lives Mattering and different things, we're protesting different things. Be very careful with your social media and what it says and goes back to when it comes to your employment, potential employer. Those are the different, nuances, if I can say that's out there that we have to really, really be careful with in this particular day and age. So I would just say approach things in a professional manner, take advantage of the professional tools that are out there, and make sure that you understand that this too is a part of your brand. This is a part of us being able to know who you are before we are even able to sit down and engage with you. So hopefully, Ms. Banks, that answers the question. Thank you, Ms. Dunn.
It does very well. Thank you so much, Ms. Thomas. Mr. Grady, you have anything to add to what Ms. Thomas said?
I think for the most part, she addressed every single component that I would touch on. Only thing I'll say is I'll reinforce the comment she made about social media, right? And your presence there, your personal brand speaks volumes. I can tell you that most of the folks on my staff with diversity recruiting, they take the time. I don't. I'll be honest, I don't have the time that they do to go out there and look on folks' LinkedIn and Facebook and IG, but they do it for me to make sure that before I speak to that student who's scheduled time with me, to make sure that their presence is not going to be a distraction or they're going to have something out there that's going to be very controversial, right? Because they're, at the end of the day, if I'm recruiting you, you're a reflection of me. And obviously you're also a reflection of Southern University, but from a company perspective, your name is going to be affixed to mine. So if anything comes up, the first thing they're going to say is, they're going to come to me and say, Kedrick, can you speak to them? Or do you know anything about this? And I'm your touch point. I'm the student's touch point as well, or the new hire. But it's very important to make sure that you understand. A lot of times we don't, I think we're in a different generation, right? Obviously, like Ms. Thomas and myself will say, it's a different generation now. I didn't have social media back in my younger days, or else I would be in some trouble, but I could say now with all the technological advances that we have and all of the different devices that are out there and the platforms, it can get you in a lot of trouble. I can spend a great deal of time even talking to my kids, telling them, be careful what you put out there, because when it's out there, it's out there. There's no retraction, right? It could be screenshot in a second, and next thing you know, you're labeled based on that. We see it all the time now, and we look at what's happening in society today. You get labeled immediately. And the worst thing to do is be labeled, because from a recruiting perspective, I've got relationships with most of the Fortune 500 recruiters that are here, because I interact with them every year that I do conferences, and we talk, right? And when we have those discussions, you don't want to have, even though we may not use names, we use situations, and those situations will prompt them to go and do the same level of research that we would do. Okay, so the last thing you want to do is have your name fixed with something, like Ms. Thomas said, hot girl, or something to that degree. It's okay to have a personal page that doesn't go back to you, or just be mindful of the content that you put out on your page, because if it's open, believe me, as recruiters, we have folks who can get to that information, and if it's something out there that could be detrimental to us as a company, because we would have potential litigation in regards to some of the things or content that you may say. It may be on your personal page, but at the end of the day, it comes back to us as a company. It speaks to our values and our morals, and the last thing we want to fix ourselves to is some prejudicial or some violent content. Or some propaganda that really does not align to our core values. So be mindful of the information you put out there, because it could have a detrimental impact, not just on the job you have today, but as we're seeing in society, things could come back to haunt you. So hopefully you take and heed those words. But update your LinkedIn. That's something that I do preach heavily. I do take a look at LinkedIn. I have a lot of students that connect with me immediately after we have discussions, and I go out there and I look at that information, because that tells me how polished and how truly you are hungry for it. I always tell folks, be hungry but humble, right? So I'm going to go out there and look at your LinkedIn profile information to see if you're dedicated to really wanting to get that job and dedicated to your professional and personal growth.
Thank you all so very much. As appreciative as I am always of the insight our students gain from the panel discussions, we're going to have to kind of wrap up the panel now, and we'll have the students to ask any questions they may have jotted down for you guys. So students, this is your opportunity to ask the panelists any questions you may have.
Don't be shy.
I have a question.
Okay.
Hello? Yes.
Yeah.
So the age-old question, what are your strongest characteristics about yourself, and what are the of course, I guess the negative? How do you really answer that question? Like, what are like people looking for when they ask you that question?
Okay, I'll
And I
jump.
have to, go ahead.
I'll bite. I hope I understood the question. Of the audio was a tad bit muffled, but so Ms. Garnett, in terms of that particular question, so I think what you would want to do is approach it from the standpoint of anything that may not be as positive about yourself. You can introduce it in such a way that you're talking about the positive pieces of it. So let's just say if someone were to ask me what is something about myself that I don't think is maybe as positive, I would say maybe I'm an overworker, or maybe I take on too many tasks, for example. And so what that means is, how do I phrase that in such a way that it appears to be a positive, and it shows the recruiter that this is something that I've identified about myself that's not stellar. It's maybe something that I would consider a weakness, which I don't really like that word, but it, you know, we can, for the sake of the session today, we can use that. But how do you take that and phrase it in such a way that it shows the recruiter that, hey, I've identified that this is an area of growth. Let's call it that. This is an area that I really need to spend some time in growth and working on for myself. And this is how I can absolutely leverage the area of growth and be a benefit to your company. So hopefully that answers the question, and hopefully I understood the question correctly.
Okay, I'll say that one way that I've heard a question similar to that phrase is that I've asked is provide me with what you would identify as a weakness that you may have, and always use something like a weakness is nothing more than a strength that I haven't identified yet. So speaking to something that Ms. Thomas had indicated, if you have identified a weakness within yourself, it could be that, you know, you need to, you know, that maybe your time management skills might not be where they need to be. It's okay to kind of speak to that, but also what I want to see on the other side of that is, how are you trying to correct that? What are you doing to improve that skill? What steps are you taking for the betterment? Like you may say, you know, I have a fear of public speaking. Okay, that's fine. We all probably have that. But what are you doing to improve that skill? Are you doing Toastmasters? Are you taking some additional speech classes? Or are you what are you doing to kind of help shore up that skill set to make you feel more comfortable in that area? Because as I mentioned, we all have certain weaknesses that we may not be as strong in. And it's okay to address that. One thing I'm not going to listen to, you know, I don't want to hear on that question is that, well, I like to fight or I like to curse. Those things, no, we leave those out, you know, just, you know, oh, I wish I would, but no, you know, it's okay to say, you make it aligned to what you're truly trying to get across, right? The question is not like, what are those personality traits that are so detrimental, like, you know, if somebody says something wrong, I get mad. No, you want to kind of address it to the question at hand, like time management, speaking in a public setting. You know, those are the type of skill sets that, you know, you may say, I might not be as strong in GAAP accounting. Okay, well, what are you doing in reference to it? Well, I'm pulling up the accounting standards. I'm looking through the documentation on certain accounting principles and trying to look into understanding them a little bit deeper, or new processions or something to that degree. It's okay to say that you have a weakness in an area in which, you know, you're going for the job, but make sure that it's relative to the discussion point.
And if I can add to that, I know we were kind of using the word weakness there, and it just in my brain, this is where the marketing and business thing comes in when I think about a SWOT analysis, you know, strengths, weakness, opportunity, and threats. But in keying in on that weakness piece, I don't look at it as weakness, but I look at it as development opportunity. And that's the way that I think that I would phrase that if there was a question that came up and just kind of said, well, maybe not a weakness, but a development opportunity. So here is an area that I've identified that I think is a development opportunity for me. And going back to Mr. Gray's point and Ms. Thomas's point, and with this development opportunity, these are the things that I'm doing to develop myself in this area. And once that development piece happens, here's where I think it will align to this job role, to your company, etc. So a positive spin to weakness is really development opportunity. Where are some development opportunities from a professional standpoint that I can look at and say, yep, I need to develop in this area. I'm not weak, but this is just an area that I'm like, you know what, I could get better at this, whether it is public speaking, whether it is, some other skill set where the opportunity to develop could be, I'm taking a public speaking class, I'm reading a book, that helps me do those things. And even if you are reading said book, right, what actions are you going to take? Because these opportunities have to develop into actionable steps that you are taking to improve. So that's like the one thing that I kind of wanted to add on that. Instead of looking at it as a weakness, look at it as a development opportunity where there are actionable steps that you are taking to improve on that development.
And just one thing I would say to that. I'm sorry. Just one quick point, Ms. Thomas. What Ms. Dunn said, as far as like if you're reading a book or if you're taking a course, be very mindful to be very truthful with your responses that you're doing. Okay. Last thing you want to do is say, "Oh, I'm reading this book," and that recruiter has read that book and asked you a question related to that book, and you cannot answer it. That's the last thing you want to happen. So be very mindful of the information that you share that is accurate to your truth. Stay in your truth when you're addressing these questions.
And that's where I think the action piece comes into play. When you're staying in your truth, if you really read the book and you're taking actionable steps, you can clearly articulate what in the book you applied to your life that helped you to do these things. There should be actionable, measurable steps that you can clearly articulate and line out to that recruiter around those pieces. So you can't just say, "I read the book," to Mr. Gray's point, and say this is, and if they ask you a question you can't answer, this is the part where I read the book, I took a step, and here's the measured action from the step that I took. Here's the result of it.
Yeah, and if I can add on, I'd like to just say too that it comes back down to your delivery as well when you're responding to that question. So Ms. Garnett, should you be asked that question, be excited about the fact that you've got some development growth and some opportunities for growth, because again, the areas for development, we've identified that we don't like the word weakness. And so what you're looking at is you should be excited about, oh my goodness, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm doing something to help better myself. And so even though these are things I'm still, as I like to, and students will tell you at Southern, that I tell them all the time, if I think they're not ready, that they need to go back in the oven. So sometimes you're still in the oven, sometimes you're still baking, and that happens even to those of us that have been in industry for, 10, 20 plus years. When you stop growing and developing, you stop living. And so at that point in time, think about it from that perspective, get excited about it, show your actionable plan, talk about what tools you're using to help you to narrow and close those gaps and the areas of growth, and what your timeline is to actually close on those things. So be excited about the fact that you have some areas of growth, because we all have them. So don't feel bad about saying that, oh, I don't necessarily know the agile methodology and I'm interviewing for a program management role. Well, that's going to be a challenge, but let's talk about it. Let's own the truth, and let's talk about the fact that you're out studying and doing these other things so that you can know those particular, specifics about the job. So I hope we got that.
Thank you.
That's right.
Yes, that was a lot of good information. Thank you so much.
We did good, y'all.
Thank you. I definitely believe that our students gained a lot of insight today from all of our panelists. It was a really great, informative panel discussion. Unfortunately, we're running a little short on time, so we're going to go ahead and continue with our program. We do appreciate all of your insight for inspiring our students and for giving them all those great tips and strategies for mastering virtual interviews. So thank you so very much. Next on our agenda, we're going to have Ms. Tamara Montgomery. She is the Director of Office of Career Services, and she's going to speak to our students about the career fair, the virtual career fair, which is next week. So Ms. Montgomery.
Yes, good afternoon to everyone. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Again, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Tamara Foster Montgomery, and I serve as the Career Services Director for Southern University A&M College. And of course, the mission of the Career Services is to aid and assist the students and alumni in developing, evaluating, and implementing your career plans. And we're in partnership with local and national corporations to provide you with those co-ops and internship opportunities. Of course, along with myself, Ms. Beulah Brown serves as your career counselor, and Ms. Kathy Hayes serves as the assistant to the director. The Office of Career Services is located in T.H. Harris Hall, Suite 1100, and we're open from 8 to 5 daily. We are having in-person appointments, but you can also schedule appointments virtually or via Microsoft Teams as well. We always like to encourage our students that these are the keys to success that we believe that will help you as you matriculate throughout Southern University. Be innovative, have inspiration, have leadership skills, be motivated, do your work with quality and excellence, and of course, be creative and be a team player. The Career Services Center offers services for co-op jobs and internships, career counseling, on-campus interviews for jobs, professional development courses as well. Students can receive 3 credit hours for your co-ops and internships opportunities, and we also offer in-person classrooms as well, that courses that are taught by Mr. Eric Pugh and Dr. Melanie Johnson. You can take those in-person classroom courses on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and you can enroll in those courses each semester. The professional development courses, again, are taught by Mr. Eric Pugh and Dr. Melanie Johnson. Resume writing workshops and interview and skills preparation. We also have a Suit Up for Success workshop and events that we help our students to be successful as they matriculate throughout the Southern University system. These Suit Up for Success workshops are conducted by our student ambassadors as well. And we also have our career clothes closet. For those students who are experiencing a hardship, we offer professional attire and clothing for you that are donated by professionals and our alums as well. We also have one-on-one mock interviews for our students. Again, these services can be done virtually or in person. You just simply call the office at 771-2200 to schedule those appointments. We have our Jobs for JAGS online system that is powered by Handshake. And we also have our career services seminars and leadership events that are at no charge for our students. In the next few slides, I will discuss the programs and corporate engagements that we have here on our campus. Our Professional Development and Leadership Institute is traditionally held in the F.G. Clark Activity Center. This event is held typically in February of 2021. That is the date that we are trying to have this event. This event, again, was postponed this year only due to COVID-19. However, we encourage all of our students to participate in all of our events. Please make sure to check your SUBR email account for all of our events and all of our corporate activities that we have. We also have interview and skills workshops for our students, and we also have what we call our REACH program. The acronym stands for Reaching Educational Aspirations and Career Horizons. In this program, our companies and our corporate partners and our alums come into the classrooms to talk to our students about their experiences at their companies and to talk to them about job opportunities as well. The interview and skills workshop, each year we try to have that event that is organized by our business and industry cluster that is spearheaded by Ms. Laquita Thomas and those members of the business and industry cluster members as well. So you'll hear more about those programs throughout the semesters. The Career Services Center also sponsors Company Site 2 programs, where we invite our students to come on externship opportunities and corporate site tours to see and learn about the day-to-day operations at those companies. Again, these events are at no charge to you. We encourage you to sign up for all of our events. Our website is updated on a weekly basis to make sure that you have accurate information. But you must sign up for all of our events in order to participate. We also have scholarship opportunities and awards for our students, and all of our leadership conferences that we sponsor are, again, they are at no charge to you. Our upcoming fall career fair will be held on September 29th. Of course, traditionally, this event is held in the F.G. Clark Activity Center, but this year, your Career Services Center was prepared for this type of environment and to engage with you as well. So we want to make sure that you register for your upcoming career fair that will be held virtually from 10 o'clock a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. But you must utilize your sus.edu email to access this virtual event. I won't prolong the time in terms of the men and women dress attire, because I think the speakers did a wonderful job in talking about those things. But again, if you need professional attire from the Career Services Center, we're here to help you as you matriculate throughout the Southern University system. If you need professional attire, we will provide that for you. These are just a few of our graduates that have gone on to be successful. Paige Hall, of course, she's at Procter & Gamble. Jonathan Irvin, he moved from IBM to be a consultant. And Ambrosia Williams, she's now a customer service person for Microsoft. We have a lot of amazing companies that come to our college to recruit our students. Each year, we have over 100 companies that come to our campus to recruit our students. We want to encourage you all to do the very best that you can as you matriculate throughout the Southern University system, because most of our companies, again, they're encouraging our students to have a 3.0 GPA or higher. But however, we do understand that sometimes things may come and get in the way of you getting that GPA. However, we want to make sure that you are coming into the Career Center so that we can coach you and help you develop your elevator pitch. Talk about what you need to do to ensure that you are successful. But again, make sure you are doing your very best within the classrooms. Please go to your sus.edu email to access and claim your Handshake account. Again, if you have not done so, please do that, because this gives you instant access to our jobs and our internship opportunities that we have for you, our students here at Southern University. This is the actual email that all of our students receive through this system that tells them directly what they need to do to access this particular system. You simply claim that account. An email will be sent to you to verify that account, and then you can begin to upload and create your profile and place your resume into this system as well. We also are excited to share with you, our students, our interviewing technology, which is powered by the Big Interview. This platform also allows you to go into this system, create your profile as well, and begin to practice your interviewing skills. You can send your practice interview to your mentor, your instructor, and also the Career Services Center has access to view and rate you as well into this system. But again, this is such a powerful tool for you to use, and it also puts you on a professional track as well. There's a curriculum that is embedded into this system that will also help you be successful. And we have many of our instructors who are also creating assignments into the Big Interviewing platform for you to interview on this platform as well. Please, for additional information, visit our website at www.sugr.edu/career-services for additional information. Again, the career fair will be held on September 29th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we're encouraging all of our students to share this information with your peers and ensure that they are registering as well. Call upon us if you need us at 225-771-2200. We will meet with you virtually or in person, but we are social distancing in the office as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Montgomery, for sharing that information and for sharing those resources with our students. Next, we're going to have Mr. Derek Warren. He's the Executive Director of Southern University Alumni Federation, and he's going to speak with you about the IBM Skills Academy and the different badges you can earn to increase your marketability. Mr. Warren, Dr. Warren.
Thank you, Ms. Banks, and thank you, Dean Andrews, and to the College of Business. Let me first say how extremely proud I am of our fantastic alums who are out there just making moves in corporate America. So Mr. Gray and Ms. Dunn and Madam President Laquita Thomas, you all are products of our great university, and I am so proud of the way that you always represent us so well. So the purpose of this presentation actually is to further strengthen the credibility and credentials of our fantastic students, in particular in the College of Business. So let me share my screen, and I'm going to move pretty quickly into some of the things that we're trying to do here at the Southern University to help differentiate us from in the world of education. So I'm going to share my screen and then talk to you about this respective initiative. Can you see my screen okay, Ms. Banks and students?
Yes.
Okay. What we've done here at the Southern University system, across our system, is we've created a construct called B-STEAM. And I credit a lot of this construct creation to Dean Andrews, because initially it was just STEM. And then Dean Andrews said, hey, you can't do STEM without business. And as such, we added the B in front. So Dean, it comes first as the intersection of business, science, technology, engineering, agriculture, arts, and mathematics. We added that AQ in there because basically the Ag Center and Art Center says, hey, there is still room for ag and art and technology. In fact, when you think about it and you think about the future of work, think about the future of work. The future of work is not only about jobs. The future of work will be about skills. It'll be about credentials and ways that you can further differentiate yourself. So as Ms. Banks said, I'm going to talk to you about a great opportunity thanks to IBM, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and other companies that can help you differentiate yourself, not just for next week's career fair, but as you continue through your professional careers and through life in general. And it's not just for our students, it's also for our faculty, it's for our alumni, and it's for our communities in which we live and in which we work and serve. So very quickly, as I mentioned earlier, right now, and due in part to COVID-19, there is an extremely high demand for new, and upskilling. In fact, by 2022, as you see on this chart, 54% of the workforce will require significant reskilling and upskilling. In fact, a recent Deloitte survey said that 39% of executives in some of our largest companies are saying that they cannot find the skills they need to fill key jobs. And that's where Southern University is going to make a difference. What we have created, as I mentioned earlier, is a B-STEAM model, which is basically a centralized suite of in-demand academic course content delivered through and with key industry partnerships, such as IBM, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, CodePath, and other companies. So we created this construct so that we can get this information and these credentials and certification to you. And they are available to each student within the Southern University system. They are available to every faculty member within the Southern University system. So more to come on that. Let's start with the IBM partnership. So we just signed a partnership with IBM, and specifically with IBM Global Universities programs, thanks to President Ray Belton, who helped to ensure that we were first in the state to sign this agreement with IBM. And it consists primarily of 3 specific initiatives. One is the IBM Academic Initiative, which is no charge access to select technology, which includes cloud technology, software, courseware, and badges and classes and that badge access classes that you can take, courses that you can take to secure credentials, stackable credentials and badges. And some of the classes and badges are available to you within, say, a couple of hours of taking the class. So major, it's no charge. It's available to you right now. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to start the process of getting your first badge. The second component of this agreement is the IBM Academic Awards Program. This program consists of faculty awards and grants, research awards, university research awards, and PhD fellowships. IBM, in fact, just announced a master's fellowship that's available to our MBA students. It's also available to other students, not just in STEM careers, but also in business-related fields, such as economics or finance and beyond. You can apply for these grants. In fact, the master's fellowship that IBM announced yesterday, which Southern University can participate in, is a $10,000 grant for a master's candidate for 1 year. $10,000 for 1 year, which will, I'm sure, pay for your master's degree. That will pay for at least 1 year of your master's education, maybe for 2 years, but it's available. More information on that will be provided as well. The third component of the IBM Global University programs that we have access to is the IBM Skills Academy. Now, the Skills Academy is an oriented training program. It builds strategy for faculty and teachers And it really is designed to help us bridge the skills gap between our classroom and industry. It focuses on practical skills, things that you're going to use when you graduate. And that's what the Skills Academy is about. Now, this particular component, these are actual courses that are delivered by our faculty, and we do have distinguished faculty within the College of Business that have been trained and that are seeking ways to integrate these courses into our existing curriculum or replace current courses with these new skills. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about these skills. The academic initiative, as I mentioned, it includes topics such as cloud, IBM security, engineering, and even though it says IBM cloud, IBM security, IBM engineering, it really does transcend across any company. It just helps you understand more about what cloud is, what security protocols are out there now, and key constructs of engineering and engineering lifecycle management. Again, the academic initiative is available to you right now, today, and I'm going to tell you the steps needed so that you can access the content and get your badge before the career fair occurs on next week. Global University Programs, I mentioned to you earlier, this program consists of PhD Fellowship Awards, Master's Fellowship Awards, and other academic awards, and it's available to students and faculty. The Skills Academy, I mentioned it earlier. There are 8 course areas within the Skills Academy. It does not require you to have a computer science degree or background. Basically, it requires you to be able to use a computer, to use a mobile phone, but it does not require as a prereq those skills for you to engage in these 8 disciplines. Those disciplines are artificial intelligence, blockchain, cloud computing, cybersecurity, data science, design thinking, Internet of Things, and quantum computing. Now, here's another fact. Almost 100% of jobs will use technology. Here's another fact. 100% of jobs in the future, if not already, will use artificial intelligence. 100%, which means it makes sense for you to consider exploring these 8 areas. Now, here at Southern, we have faculty trained in artificial intelligence through the IBM program, in cloud computing, in cybersecurity, data science, and in quantum. They're already trained. We also have access to the AWS Academy, and thanks to DXC Technologies, Ms. Yolanda Albert-Smith, she has available Amazon Web Services classes and certifications that students can enroll in for free. This is available right now, and we want you to take advantage of it. There are different ways you can access it. You'll see for credit courses, this will occur most likely in the spring of 2021, but for credit courses, professional workforce development, certificate programs, executive training for those that are out there in the community, and for our alumni, we're going to provide those types of resources for them in the very near future, and these are the formats that will be available. The badge benefits. So IBM partnered with Acclaim to provide these digital badges that are associated with all of the courses. In addition to the badge, you'll get real-time labor market data and actual job postings in the industry. And these jobs aren't just IBM jobs. There'll be jobs with Oracle, jobs with TI, Texas Instruments, jobs with Dow, jobs with other companies as well, as long as they tie to the respective badge. So here's a look at one of the badges, cybersecurity badge. It tells you about the badge and the skill. You can put this badge on your LinkedIn profile, attach it to your resume, or place it under your email signature. But these are the types of things, and one of the value points why it's key that you register for this program today. So how do you do it? Here's how you do it. You go to www.research.ibm.com/university. You must register using your Southern University system ID or Southern University Baton Rouge ID. You cannot use Gmail or ID. IBM has registered our SUS and SUBR domains. I'm going to provide this to Ms. Banks and to Dean Andrews so that this can be shared, of course, with faculty and then shared with you. And if you have any questions, I'm going to make myself available so I can walk you through this particular access program so you can immediately get access to the content and then start earning your badges. Hopefully you get one badge. There are several badges I know that are only 1 or 2 hours of course content that you can have prior to next week and quickly enhance your resume prior to the career services event that Mrs. Montgomery spoke about earlier. So academic initiative, here's how you access that. The awards, this is how you would access the awards. The Skills Academy, of course, you will not be able to access the Skills Academy until the instructor allows you to access. But you can access the other areas now, today. So again, here's the information we're provided to you. You will then go out there, register first, and then you can use that registration using your SUS or SUBR user ID, a credentialed ID, and then go in to access the content. Any questions? That's all I have for you, Ms. Banks and team. Any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Warren. As soon as you get the information to us, we will definitely make it available to our students. We're gonna go ahead and wrap our program up with a word from the chairs. Just a few seconds. I know it's getting late. We've gone over time again as usual, but we'll have first Dr. Gourmet Gabrielsus. He's the department chair for accounting, finance, and economics. And then we'll have Dr. Kimberly Powell. She's interim chair for the Department of Management and Marketing.
Good afternoon. My name is Gourmet Gabrielsus. I hope you hear me. You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Dr.
Right. Because I have a new computer, it has some problem with Zoom, so I was a little bit worried, all right? Okay, well, good afternoon, and on behalf of my Department of Accounting, Finance, and Economics, I extend warm greetings. My department is located in room 218. We also offer 2 degree programs. One is in accounting, and the other one is in finance with concentration in insurance, business economics. I would like, say to relay a message to the students, especially accounting and finance majors attending this forum. I would like to encourage them, to meet with their advisors, either face-to-face or virtual. We have the email address, the phone number of all the advisors in the department. I would like to encourage the students to meet with their advisors because we are promoting the advisement, and also we are reviewing, the curriculum for both accounting and finance, and also providing additional information. The other thing that I want to share with the students is that we are going to award, the 2021 Risk and Insurance Scholarship. Almost everything ready. If you are interested to apply, please contact the department. You can call me. My phone number is 771-5943. Tom's her cell phone number, and her office phone number is 771-5943. You can also send us email. We also have the Genius Scholarship. We're going to offer that scholarship. Additionally, I want to encourage the students to join the student club. We have the NABA club, the National Association. They have been performing many activities, very, very helpful to our students. We have also the Finance and Economics Club. So I would like to encourage all our students. And last but not least, you're welcome to our department. You can contact me anytime. I'll do my best. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. G. We did have a little problem hearing everything you were saying, but I will go ahead and put the department phone number in the chat box if anyone needs to call the Department of Accounting, Finance, and Economics for any information from Dr. G or Ms. Holmes. Now we will hear from Dr. Powell.
Good afternoon, students. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I will make it brief, Ms. Banks. I promise. So I do have some information that I would like to share. Again, welcome to the Department of Management and Marketing. I am Dr. Kimberly Powell. I'm serving as interim department chair at this time. Also, we have Ms. Cook, who serves as our administrative coordinator. So if you need to get in touch with Ms. Cook regarding who your advisor is or information along those lines, please feel free to contact her, but we are always available. Here are our email addresses. So if you need to get in touch with us for various reasons, we are available to you. Also, just want to give you just a brief overview of the degree offerings here in management and marketing. You can see in management, we have the Bachelor of Science degree. We have concentrations in HR, supply chain, and entrepreneurship. Our esteemed faculty is really doing a great job of moving our concentrations forward, moving management forward. And also in marketing, we have the Bachelor of Science degree, and we have the concentration professional sales. So you can obtain the marketing degree, and you can also obtain the professional sales concentration. And our marketing faculty is also doing, our esteemed marketing faculty is also doing a wonderful job of moving the marketing forward. So our department is doing a really good job. We have great faculty here who care about our students, who want to see them grow, and who are working constantly to ensure that our programs are dynamic and robust. Also, the website, I have the SUBR website, but if you want to learn more about management and marketing, go to the SUBR website, but then click on Academic Affairs, and from there, click on the College of Business, and you will see the information regarding management and marketing, as well as finance and accounting. I know that one thing that unfortunately the panel did not have the chance to really touch on due to time constraints. One question that we always receive from our students is questions to ask at the end of the interview. So what I did here was I provided a few questions because students want to know, well, what exactly do I ask? So therefore, here are some samples as to what questions to ask at the end of an interview, because asking questions to the interviewers, that really does matter. So you can see that here. Also, I serve as the faculty advisor for Beta Gamma Sigma. I tend to wear a few hats around here. So I just want to give students an overview regarding what is Beta Gamma Sigma. Beta Gamma Sigma is our International Business Honor Society. It is the International Honor Society serving business programs that are accredited by AACSB, because the College of Business has the top accreditation that a business school can have. So because of that, we do have a chapter of Beta Gamma Sigma here. And again, Beta Gamma Sigma gives you the right, our students, the right to state that you are members of Beta Gamma Sigma. They are able to state that they are the best in business. And our chapter has been established since 1999, so we have been here for quite a while. Some benefits of Beta Gamma Sigma and the membership that's associated with Beta Gamma Sigma, because our students always want to know, well, you know, what's in it for me, this membership, you know, the WIFM model, always, what's in it for me? So here are some benefits on the student side, as well as some alumni benefits. But again, being a member of Beta Gamma Sigma has multiple benefits. So whether you are a current student or whether you are an alum of the university or an alum and you're a member of Beta Gamma Sigma, there are multiple benefits. I have taken part in some of those benefits. I myself am Beta Gamma Sigma alum. And here are just a few examples of those. And students next want to know, well, how do I become a member? Well, membership is extended based off of your GPA. So with our students, with our juniors and seniors here in the College of Business, we look at the top 10% based off of the GPA. And students often want to know, well, typically, what's the cutoff GPA? So in doing this for quite some time, we have found that the average cutoff GPA is about 3.4. So if you do want to become a member of Beta Gamma Sigma, please, by all means, get that GPA up so that you can be competitive, because what we do is we offer because our companies come in and they want students with certain GPAs and they want students with certain requirements, and especially with that GPA requirement, we are able to offer up our members of Beta Gamma Sigma quite easily. So if you are interested in wanting to become a member, because there are just certain benefits even currently as a student, please, by all means, get that GPA up so that you can be competitive. There's only a one-time membership of $75. Now, we do a tapping, and because of what is going on with COVID-19, a lot of our activities and our tapping ritual is done virtually. But again, we are still working to ensure that our students who are members of Beta Gamma Sigma are engaged and have access to a lot of different opportunities. Also, stay connected with me. In addition to serving as interim department chair for management and marketing, I'm also associate professor of marketing. I've talked about the faculty advisor role for Beta Gamma Sigma, but I also chair student affairs and the scholarship committee as well. But I am very much so connected just outside of the halls or the building of TT Lane. So please, by all means, you can connect with me outside of there. I have had students who've reached out to me via my social media, and I am engaged. I care about our students. We all care about our students here in the College of Business, and we want our students to do well, and we want our students to succeed. That is why we have these type of events. We had a dynamic panel that just provided a lot of great information and insight, but we just want you all to know here in the College of Business that we are here for you and that we care about you. Thank you, Ms. Banks.
Thank you, Dr. Powell, and thank you to all of our program participants today. I do apologize for the forum going over a little bit, but I do also appreciate you guys for sticking it out and hearing all this great information. So we're gonna go ahead and let Dean Andrews close us out, and we'll see you guys here the same time next spring. Dean Andrews?
Again, thank you all very much. Really want to thank Mr. Gray, Ms. Dunn, and really thank our alumni director, Ms. Thomas, for all the great information you provided. Also want to thank Dr. Warren for his information in terms of the skills that we can more or less provide to our students that will differentiate them and help them in the career development process. So I hope we have a great program as far as our virtual career fair. And we're going to do all we can in the College of Business to make sure students more or less are well prepared. So thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you all so very much, and have a good day.